Back on Titans Talk. We'll get back to phone calls in just a moment. But first, we go to Facebook where Herb checks in and wants to know if Malcolm Butler would be available to come back this week for the Titans. He will not be back this week or this year. He was placed on season-ending injured reserve because he broke his wrist in that game against Carolina. So Malcolm Butler is not going to be a part of this team moving forward in the 2019 season, 2020 playoffs here. I think he is a big part of this team beyond that because I think he played excellent football this year for the Titans. But they're going to have to deal without him. That, to me, is why Adoree Jackson coming back last week was such a huge addition to the secondary, because now you feel, again, like you've got two lockdown corners that are going to be out there on most plays in Jackson and Logan Ryan. You can go to Tremaine Brock. You can go to Ty Smith or to LaShawn Sims. Those guys have played solid roles for this team throughout the course of the year. But there's no question Adoree Jackson is an upgrade on those guys in coverage, and now you get him back on a down-in, down-out basis. And I thought he played well, by the way, Saturday night in his first game back. He got confused on the end around. He just never saw the ball when it went to Edelman, and he just walked in for the end zone. Jackson was the closest guy to him on that side of the field, and he just didn't react. But in terms of coverage down the field, I thought he was on guys. I thought he was tight. I thought he made a couple great plays late in the game on third downs to help the Titans get off the field and force punts. That's what you need, and that's what Adoree Jackson brought by being back in the lineup on Saturday night. Go back to the phones. Say hello to Terry. Terry, thanks for the call. You're on Titans Talk.
Hey, Leland. I'm Nick. Nick, how are you?
This is Steve, but I'm great. How are you, Terry?
Oh, Steve. Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah. Terry here. I'm a friend of Leland and those guys, other guys. Anyway, he did. Yeah, I just wanted to say that I think it's insane that the national news and sports guys are saying that the whole idea about us winning the team against the Patriots was because of that guy's fault. I forget his name now. But I didn't give us any credit at all. Credit about how we won the game. They just called it his fault because his career is probably over. I just want to say that. I just want to say that he was. I think that's insane. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Terry. Unfortunately, this is the rare case where people aren't talking about the winners in a game, at least enough. They're talking about the losers because it's the Patriots, and I understand why. The Patriots over the last 19 seasons have won 6 Super Bowls. Only one other franchise in the history of the sport has won 6 Super Bowls, and that's the Pittsburgh Steelers, spread out over many years. The Patriots have done it all in 19 seasons with the same head coach and the same quarterback who maybe played their last game together at home or period on Saturday night. And that's why everybody's talking about it. And here in Tennessee, it's unfortunate because the effort that the Titans gave to go up and take on the defending Super Bowl champions, that dynasty in that environment in New England, to punch them in the mouth and outplay them and frankly out-physical them throughout the course of the game and win, that's incredible effort. It's a great job by this team and that locker room and that coaching staff to get ready to go play that well. And now they're moving on. And not just was it one win, but as I said earlier, there's a belief with this team that there can be more. That it wasn't just one great playoff win, but there's no reason that they feel that they can't go to Baltimore and win on Saturday night and get to the AFC Championship. And if they do that, they're going to feel like they can win that game and get to the Super Bowl. Because remember, the AFC Championship, you'd be facing either Kansas City, who the Titans beat earlier this year, or Houston, who they just beat 2 weeks ago, or a week ago, really, to get into the playoffs. So you're going to have confidence wherever that game would be if you get there. I think the Titans need to be talked about more. I think this was an incredible performance. I think this is a team that can be reckoned with at any level of this playoff the rest of the way. But I do understand the reason that elsewhere, the bigger story is not Tennessee winning. It's not Derrick Henry running for 182 yards and the Titans moving on. It's about Tom Brady finishing without points in the second half, throwing a pick six on what might be his final pass at Gillette Stadium and what very well may be the end of the Patriots dynasty. Back to the phones. Hello, Donnie. You're on Titans Talk.
Hey, everybody.
What's going on?
I'm doing okay.
Great. Go ahead. You're on the air.
All right. Hello?
Yeah, Donnie, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
Donnie.
Yeah, I like the Titans are doing this year. I know back in 19 I can't remember what year it was, but I'm telling you, the Titans are tough this year, and they're going to keep on going. And I believe this year that everything is going to be all for the Titans.
Okay. Anything else, Donnie?
No, I don't believe so.
All right. Well, thank you very much for the call. It's definitely changed in their favor in the last 10 weeks of the regular season and then on Saturday night. This is a team that is growing in confidence. It's playing well offensively, and defensively it has come up with the plays when it needed to. Early in the season, the defense was dominant and kept the Titans in games. Middle of the season, they came up with some big plays. Injuries hurt them down the stretch, but Saturday night, that defense back to its stingy nature, allowing just 13 points, a shutout in the second half of a playoff game as the Titans advance. They feel like they can win whatever way they have to. And it appears they've got the weapons on both sides of the ball to do just that. Go to Walt. Hey, Walt, how are you?
Hey, doing well. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. Go ahead, Walt.
So, I was just saying, I think we got the offense to prove it. I mean, we got plenty of wide receivers out there, and we got a damn good running back. You think we can pull it off against the Ravens?
I think it's going to be difficult because I think the Ravens are going to score some points this week. I think if the Titans are going to win this weekend, Walt, and thanks for the call, they're going to have to put up points themselves. I think Derrick Henry can run the football. I think this offensive line can run the football against just about anybody. The question I have is, can this passing game get back going? I don't think you can win again with 72 yards passing from Ryan Tannehill. I don't think you can only get one catch from A.J. Brown. I don't think you can go without a reception that counts from Corey Davis in the course of the game. The Titans have to get back to that game where the running game starts it, and then you do play action, open up the passing game off of that. The concern is, like Saturday, it sounds like it's going to rain in Baltimore. Sounds like it could be heavy rain in Baltimore on Saturday night. So you're going to have to deal with those conditions again. The Henry part of that equation is nice because having a bruising back behind that offensive line that you can go to throughout the course of the game, just hand it off. You eliminate problems with turnovers. Just keep it in his hands, and hopefully you can be effective running the football there, where Baltimore, it's all about the handling. Zone reads and various things with Lamar Jackson and hands off to Mark Ingram and all those, the ball handling issues that you have to get into when you run that type of an offense. Even though it's not necessarily putting it in the air, it's exchanges that you have to do, maybe with a slick football on Saturday night. I'd give the edge there to the Titans. But can the Titans get their passing game back going? That, to me, is going to be the biggest question for this team. I think kind of similar to what I thought on Saturday night. I thought the Titans would have a shot to win the game. I was hesitant to pick them because I thought when it comes to the Patriots, until someone actually beats them there for the first time in 7 years, first time in 10 playoff games, it was a 9-game winning streak going in. Until somebody did it, it was hard to pick against Tom and the Pats, but the Titans did it. Baltimore, I think, has been the better team throughout the course of the year, but I do think this is a Titans team that's confident. We'll go in there playing well. And if Tannehill can get back going and those receivers step up a bit and there's a passing threat there, I think the Titans have a shot to stay in the game with the Ravens and maybe have a shot to win it in the fourth quarter. What they cannot do, though, is they cannot be one-dimensional. Just can't. They've got to get away from that. And it's got to be a more balanced offense because, again, I think they're going to have to score more points. They got to 20 Saturday night with the pick 6. I think they're going to have to be in the 20s, maybe even 30 this Saturday night to beat the Ravens because I think the Ravens are going to score some points. All right, let's go to David. David, thanks for the call.
Yes, sir. You there?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, you think our offensive line can hold up to a Baltimore pass defense? I mean, in 2018, Mariota was sacked, 11 times?
Yeah.
And that's kind of worrying me. I want to know if Tannehill will have time to throw the ball.
Yeah, I think that's a very good question, David, and a fair worry because last year Marcus Mariota was sacked 11 times by these Ravens, and the Titans failed to score. They were shut out in a 21-0 loss. It was really the worst performance of the 2018 season. That, to me, is why they went out in the offseason and they signed Roger Saffold for the price they did to go to left guard next to Taylor Lewan. That's why they drafted Nate Davis in the 3rd round, and he's played much better in the second half of his rookie season at right guard next to a now healthy Jack Conklin. All of that to say, I think the Titans believe right now their offensive line is much better than they were 15 months ago when that last game happened. But it will concern you because 3 of the 5 pieces out there were part of that line, and some of them are your better linemen. So 2 new pieces, hopefully you're better, but still, that was a defense last year. They got 11 sacks and more hurries and more hits than that on Marcus Mariota in that game. Protection for Tannehill will be paramount, but also running the football, which this line does very well. They've got to do that and make the Ravens pay attention to the running game and then run the play action off that. If you slow up those pass rushers because they have to worry about the run, then all of a sudden Tannehill gets his time and you're able to throw. And the other thing to watch out in that regard this weekend, very important, I think it's always important for the Titans, but maybe more important this weekend given what the Ravens can do with their pass rush. The start to this game is critical. If the Titans can do what they did on Saturday night and answer an early score from the Ravens and stay in the game where it's 1 possession either way, they can stay with their game plan. They can stay with heavy doses of Henry and work the passing game and the play action off of that like they want to. If you get blitzed and you fall behind because the Ravens put up a couple of early touchdowns and all of a sudden it's 14-0, kind of like it was a year ago in that game, now all of a sudden you're going to be forced to pass to get yourself back in the game, and you have to abandon the game plan. But the other thing that does is that tells those pass rushers, now I can pin my ears back and go after the quarterback. The Titans do not want to see that. So the start to this game, being effective offensively and putting up points and either grabbing a lead or matching whatever Baltimore does early on in the game, I think is critical to keep the Titans in their game plan and give them a shot to win on the road in the second half for the 2nd straight week. Sneak one more in here. Let's go to Lennox. Lennox, how are you?
Yeah, man. I got a question. Which team out there is better than the Titans?
Well, throughout the course of the year, and thanks for the call, Lennox, the Ravens have been. The Ravens have been a better team. They've been the best team in football throughout the course of the year. They've got the number 2 ranked offense and the number 4 ranked defense. There have been other teams out there throughout the year. I think the Chiefs over the course of the year have been better, though the Titans have beat them. I think the Niners have been really good in the NFC. You could probably throw a bone out there to the Packers. I think the Saints, we saw it in week 16. I think the Saints were better than the Titans this year. But here's the thing. The Saints are gone. The Patriots are gone. We're down to 8 teams left. And while the Ravens, for instance, have been better than the Titans throughout the course of the year, that's why they're 14-2, and that's why they are the number 1 seed in the AFC and throughout football. The Titans have the capability on their roster to go in and win in Baltimore. They don't have to be scared of it. And that's the thing about this point that is different than 2 years ago. 2 years ago, it was sort of pat on the back, nice win, but you got no shot the rest of the way when you looked at the Titans. Now you look at this team, it's a great win on Saturday night in New England, but that's not all they want. They want more. They want the big enchilada at the end of this. They believe they can compete with anybody. And while they're going to be the underdog Saturday night in Baltimore, don't tell them that, because the Titans are going to walk in thinking very much that they can go on that field and compete toe-to-toe with the Ravens and ultimately come out with a win, just like they did Saturday night in New England. Got to take a break, come back. More phone calls right after this here on Titans Talk.